Hey there guys, and welcome back to Unjaded Jade. Welcome to me talking about one of my favorite day-to-day things that I use, something that my life hinges upon. It's the thing that allows me to juggle uni and YouTube and personal life and social life, and when I read a book, it's how I explore my takeaways and remember things, it's how I write my journal, it's how I plan everything. And that is Notion. If you haven't already, I highly recommend watching my little video here about how I set up my life using Notion. I got many of my Notion templates from this incredible human called Amelia Kroner, who is an alumni of my university. So if you like my general setup, I'll leave the link down below and you can explore her templates. Feel free to donate to her Patreon, etc. Today we are doing one of my favorite things, and that is reflecting and setting goals. If you followed me for a while, you know that's something I do quite regularly. I just love it. How can you know how best to set up your life if you haven't even established your goals to yourself? Where do you want to put your energy? What do you want to prioritize? What do you want to achieve? It's really important to just make the time to do that with yourself. But at the same time, how can you set these goals if you never look back and you never reflect on what's happened? 2020 has been quite a year. I don't know about you, but it's been a bit of a mess emotionally, work life, loneliness wise, relationship wise. This has just been a bit of a year. So before I start forecasting 2021, I really want to just sit in the space of what this year meant to me. Today I'm just going to take you through my Notion process in how I reflect on 2020 and how I'm looking forward into 2021. Notion has so many incredible tools to help make your goals actionable. I love notebooks, I love pen and paper, but there is something amazing about this tracking tool and the habit tracking element, the ability to have calendars, everything. Using Notion like a second brain, it's just super helpful. I hope this video inspires you to reflect on your lived experiences of this year and to really be intentional in crafting next year. Also, if it wasn't clear, this video is sponsored by Notion, which is just bloody dream. Thank you. Cool, so welcome to my life hub. This is where everything happens. This is where my life is contained. This is everything from my university notes that I make in class to how I plan my videos, how I think about content, how I journal my life, how I prepare for moving abroad. Again, if you're interested in this template, I've left Amelia Kroner's templates down below. I also love to leave myself some kind of inspiring quotes or just conversations with myself in the comments here. One of my kind of mantras, thoughts for going into next year is really to stop taking things personally. I am so emotional and sensitive, and I think this year has really proven that, like, more than ever before. I just feel things a lot and get into like overthinking spirals a lot. Even if I rationally know that I shouldn't take things personally and that it's not helping me, I just do it anyway. So yeah, one of my real mantras for next year, how can I hear criticism and not take it personally? How can I engage in difficult conversations and not take it personally? So yeah, I've just kind of left that there. Cool, but I made this page here. You can just, it's really easy to make a page. You just do a slash and you've got all these options for a block you can build on Notion, and you click page and bam, you've got this untitled thing. My 2021 reflections, it would be that easy. There we go. So that one would be there. But I woke up early this morning and made this one. I feel like this is a Blue Peter moment. Here is one I prepared earlier. Here are my goals and reflections, which I've kind of put into different sections of my life. But let's start with 2020. I'm going to show you really quickly how I made this very simple reflections guide. Here I've got two headings, and then in each of these I have questions. But what I love about Notion is that each question is a toggle, so I can open it and then I've got my little answer there. So the way that I made this is I click slash, heading 2, why not? Heading 2, heading 3, who knows? 2020 reflections. You know, let's be creative, let's put some color there. And then underneath it, I'm going to do the slash again. I've got all these options, and I'm going to click the toggle list. And now I can ask myself what other deep and meaningful question I want to. What was your most challenging moment of 2020? And then I can just open that here and just take a moment and answer that prompt. And then, so yeah, here are the questions that I asked myself. Like, what am I most proud of? What challenged me this year? And a lot challenged me this year. What are my favorite moments where I can like vividly feel the feelings that I felt, or remember people's facial expressions, or like the way that the sky looked, or you know those moments where you try and capture the scene in your mind because they're just so meaningful. This is a moment to consolidate that. And then before looking at tangible 2021 goals, I think it's kind of cool thinking about, how do I want to feel in 2020? What is the ideal version of Jade? What am I currently worried about? What am I looking forward to? What am I committing to? What does this exact day look like in a year? So I kind of sit with myself, I answer these questions, and then I haven't answered these questions yet, but I will. What will I say no to? A lot. Another 2021 energy I need to have is kind of going along with the like, don't take things personally, don't be too much of a people pleaser. I just end up saying yes and overcommitting to things that make me end up being really stressed and really time pressured, even though these things I say yes to aren't something I want to be a priority, and I just need to treat them like they're not. Because every time you say yes to taking on something new, you are saying no to something else. If I say yes to this project, I'm saying no to more free time doing yoga. If I say yes to going out with these friends, I'm saying no to a relaxed night in when I'm already really stressed. So just really being intentional with my priorities and my ability to say no. But yeah, this is the way that I do my goals and reflections. I'm pretty basic. I've seen some people doing some gorgeous, deep, interesting tables, and Notion really does let you do that. But for me, I've just gone for a classic list, kind of like blurting out everything that I just think of on the top of my mind. And then I've got my month overviews, which I tend to use quite religiously. So every month I have my priorities and then what's gonna happen in each week. Here we go. So I'm trying to make my goals super realistic. Everyone does New Year's resolutions and goals a bit differently. Perhaps you've heard of the SMART framework of making your goals really like realistic and manageable and actionable, time-based, all these things that you can integrate to make it more likely you're gonna complete your goal. I'm a mixture of SMART goals and high-level goals, often which are continuations of things I'm already doing, with a few super ambitious goals just chucked in there for the fun of it. For example, I'm quite proud currently of my yoga and meditation journey. I am mentally very good right now, not because the world isn't a mess, because it really is, but more because I just do stuff for my brain every day, and it's really important, and I want to do that next year too. My level of patience, my level of positivity, it all hinges on exercise. I have to exercise or I just feel rubbish. So that's just something I'm putting into next year. I'm going to be taking my vitamins more frequently, and the way that I'm going to help integrate this is in my habit tracker. Here we go. I can create a new column, vitamins taken. Now to help me do that goal, I can tick when I've remembered to take them and sort of review this. I want to improve my German. I want to maintain my Dutch. I'm really trying to get better at Hangul and having basic conversations in Korean. I'm the worst dancer ever. I have no coordinational skill, but I would love to do a bit of K-pop dance. You know, the really sassy people who just look so fire and amazing, and I'm like, this really isn't my skill set, but why not? Why can't I learn that? Growth mindset, you know? So I'll start with an odd tutorial or so, but by the end of next year, I will present to you some kind of K-pop dance. I'm committing that now. I picked up ukulele this year, and I would love to learn finger picking and just be able to like do a few songs really confidently, and it's a real challenge for me. Like, my fingers just don't do it. There are so many things I want to learn next year. I want to learn more about Korea. There are so many books on different topics that I want to read, on climate change, climate justice, so many anti-racism books that are on my TBR pile, and I still need to get around to them. I really want to read more of Aditye's books. I want to explore my spiritual beliefs more. I want to read some more Eckhart Tolle. I want to explore more activism. I want to speak to mentors that I have and be more intentional investing in mentors. There's something really special about having someone external to your life who's still kind of invested in it and just can help give you direction in a coaching way. So the way I'm already structuring this learning element is I have got the next 6 months here in my overview of my months. And to make these crazy goals like learn Korean more actionable, I'm already starting to break it into mini actionable goals that I can slot into the months. Otherwise, they'll just never happen. For example, finish level 1 of Talk to Me in Korean, which is this really cool Korean podcast, learning platform. January, I will finish level 1. Whatever I need to do to make that happen, I will do it. I'm already sort of putting in the books that I'm gonna start reading in different months to make those elements of learning happen. And I really like this gallery view on Notion. I think it just helps you visualize things better. YouTube, you see, I set these like random numerical goals, like, oh my gosh, I'd love to get, 500K on YouTube. But at the end of the day, numbers are numbers. I really want to continue crafting this positive, like amazing, inspiring community of people that I just feel so grateful to have on here and on Instagram and on TikTok. And so my YouTube goals are very like intangible here because it's such a creative space that I don't really know what I want to say. Like, I weirdly don't care about numbers that much. I just want to keep being something hopefully good and useful on the internet, continuing to connect to people in a more meaningful way and exploring that. In quarantine, I really didn't plan to be as weird and creative on YouTube as I ended up being, but that was kind of the beauty. It was just very spontaneous. So we'll see. I would love to have a podcast, but at university I just don't have time, and university is my priority. But podcast, ? I don't know if you guys have ever kept a diary, but I never really did in my teenage years. I did as a child, early teen, but Notion has changed my commitment and ability to journal. I have maintained a journal most of the week, most of the days of the week in Berlin. And guys, I can't show you this because it's embarrassing. This is all the tea of my life condensed into journals. But already, now that I'm coming to the end of my time here, it is so meaningful to be able to look back and watch how my feelings unraveled, how my experiences here changed, how my relationship to my roommates developed over time. All these good memories just captured in the moment. I can't recommend journaling enough, so I'm gonna continue that. The older I get, I also realize just how important friends and relationships and being intentional with it is, especially now that I live abroad a lot of the time and seeing family is just really hard. And like, life takes over, you're always going to be busy, so how can I be more intentional next year in calling the people that matter? There are some personal projects which have been in my mind for so long, and I'm hoping could maybe come to fruition in the next year. We shall see. Academically, just to keep my head above water and still try and enjoy life. Like, university's hard, but trying to be specific. Some resolutions I have are to get to know my professors more, go to office hours more frequently with every professor that I have, and I guess that's kind of it. I've gone through phases with New Year's resolutions. Sometimes I set 100 different resolutions, and realistically, not every single one happens. So I try to boil it down to things I really do want to commit to. But as I say, Notion is just the best thing. Here are all my class notes and how I sort them. I have my university hub. I think after what has been such a tough year, and then looking into the next year where we still don't really have closure on a lot of what made this year hard, it can just feel a bit fake trying to be optimistic about the year, Why set goals when everything's so uncertain? Things like go traveling in summer, they're so uncertain. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of goals which aren't external, maybe like aren't huge external achievements, aren't like go traveling or do this, but instead more internal challenges, more things you can learn, aspects of yourself that you can focus on, aspects of your personality you can be more conscious of and work on. Us humans, we just construct time. Like, years are so arbitrary. Why is there a huge reset as soon as it goes January? There doesn't have to be. If you want to have a huge reset right this very moment, you can have a reset right this very moment. New Year's resolutions or midday resolutions, whatever. I really do believe if you need a framework, if you need some new goals to reinvigorate your life, you can give yourself that. You just have to choose to. A huge thank you to Notion for sponsoring today's video, and more generally for helping me sort out my life. Whatever this year holds for you, whatever next year holds for you, I'm wishing you luck in the journey of it all. Be kind to yourself, but also be ambitious, because you're amazing, and whatever you want to achieve, why not? Truly, if it's something you want to do, you can do it. Very quickly, the casual magic of my day is that I'm looking outside, and it's been such horrible weather in Berlin for the last few days. But the way that the sun is shining on the building opposite me, it's like it's turned the street a new color. It's just made all these blue shadows, and it just looks really beautiful. So that's just something to be grateful for today. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.